Tonight on episode 525 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, gonna be talking all about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, featuring 2 title matches and the AEW debut of the Nature Boy. All that and more right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time to talk about All Elite Wrestling Dynamite from tonight. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in on this Wednesday night. Hope everyone has had a great Wednesday. And like I said in the top of that episode, we had 2 title matches tonight and a huge debut in All Elite Wrestling. But without further ado, let's get into tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, which was live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the La Crosse Center. And we kick things off in the back, actually, the remarkable Renee Paquette with the AEW World Champion and one half of the tag team Better Than You, baby, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And he goes to make a call to his partner in the tag team, Better Than You, baby. It's Adam Cole, baby. And he does answer the phone. And Adam tells him he's glad he took the surgery, and then is interrupted by Roderick Strong, Adam, and then he pushes Roderick away in the wheelchair, and the Kingdom go after him. And then after that, MJF, we see the man in the devil mask, who most of the heels are saying is MJF. And now, time for the match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring on the line. MJF defending against Bullet Club Gold member Juice Robinson with the guns in his corner. Starts off really good match. MJF looking good, and there was part of me kind of thinking that since they already had Bullet Club Gold be kind of dominant here, Switchblade Jay White stealing the AEW World Championship, the Triple B from MJF, that maybe there'd be a lot of cheating and they'd actually let Juice Robinson get the Dynamite Diamond Ring. But that was not the case here tonight. MJF picking up the win, defeating Juice Robinson to retain the Dynamite Diamond Ring once again. Bullet Club Gold rush out in the ring again and attack MJF. And then we see the Acclaimed make the save. Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Billy Gunn. Max Caster, I should say, tries to get MJF to scissor him, but no go. And then we hear Kenny Omega's music hit. And then MJF, very close to passing the record, does the longest reign of AEW World Champion, currently held by Kenny Omega. And we find out that we will see the AEW World Championship on the line this weekend on Saturday. Collision. MJF taking on Kenny Omega in the main event. That should be a good one. And definitely looking forward to that. And next up, we get a video package focusing on Wardlow, talking about being at home for 4 months and watching a man who's done so much evil become the face of the company. And he promises that he is going to take everything from MJF. And next up, tag team action. Rob Van Dam and Hook taking on Dark Order, John Silver, Johnny Hungy, and Alex Reynolds. Pretty good match here, I think. And RVD gets the submission win, or Hook does, I should say, tapping out Johnny Hungry with the red rum. Hook and Rob Van Dam victorious. RJ City is in the back to introduce Timeless Tony Storm. And we get another masterpiece from her while we go to picture-in-picture. And when we come back, Tony Schiavone is in the ring with the Icon Sting and Darby Allin, or he brings them out, I should say. Sting gets on the mic and thanks Tony Khan for giving him a chance to go on one more run and end things on his own terms. And then Tony Schiavone once again takes the mic away from the Stinger. And Tony thanks Sting for everything he's done, and he thinks Tony Khan should thank him. He mentions what Sting and certain someone have done 35 years ago on TBS Clash of the Champions. And the special gift from Tony Khan, and it is none other making his All Elite Wrestling debut, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, which, to be honest, I have to admit, I wasn't expecting it. I don't know about anyone else, but definitely we saw the Nature Boy in AEW on Dynamite tonight. And by the way it sounds, is that this is not a one-night thing. It kind of seems like he'll be sticking around. And then we see the AEW TNT champion, Christian Cage. And he calls out Sting and Darby Allin and a partner for Full Gear on pay-per-view, which he did kind of tease them saying, oh, you can have Ric Flair as your partner. Now, realistically, that I would say not a very good chance of that happening. You never know. Definitely crazier things have happened, and he could be well protected in a trios match with Sting and Darby doing most of the work. But with that being said, I still don't think that it's very likely of happening. Even in a trios match, I just don't see it. Maybe he will end up being in the corner of Sting, Darby, and whoever their partner is. Now that I could see as a possibility of happening at the Full Gear pay-per-view. And this reminds me, with Ric Flair debuting in AEW now, what is the current status of him in WWE? I thought he was under pretty much a lifetime contract. I know he did do the Ric Flair's last match thing, where he teamed with Andrade to take on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. So I guess this is not really too different. And backstage, once again, we see the remarkable Renee Paquette, this time with Chris Jericho. And he talks about what happened with Powerhouse Hobbs, how he was dominated by him. And he says, well, Hobbs has a big family. And Don Callis, family I should say. He said Jericho has a lot of friends though. And he has some of them that are bigger than Hobbs. And he might make a call to one of them. So that is definitely interesting to see who this friend, Chris Jericho, will be making a call to. And when will we see them? Possibly next week on Dynamite. And now we have the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championships on the line as Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks, better known as the Elite and the Hung Bucks, taking on the Hardys, Matt and Jeff, and Brother Zay, Isaiah Cassidy. And I thought this was a pretty good match here. Winners of the match, still Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Six-Man Tag Team Champions, Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks. And then the celebration is cut short after the match, though. We see Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana on the screen at the home of Hangman Adam Page. While this is going on, right from the beginning, Hangman, he goes right up the ramp and leaves to go to the back. And Swerve sits on his couch and he reads a children's book. And he hears a noise and he goes upstairs. And he goes to the room of Adam Page's child. And he talks about how Page loves could be impacted by Heyman's actions. And he leaves a shirt in the crib. And then Prince Nana comes in and tells Swerve it's time to go. And then we go to a commercial break. So good six-man tag here for the titles on the line. And then after the match, obviously this feud between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page is continuing and getting very personal as well. So I could obviously see some kind of rematch at Full Gear. Next up, the AEW Women's World Championship is on the line. Ruby Soho challenging the AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida. I thought this was a really good match. Shida getting the win to retain, defeating a tough opponent in Ruby Soho. And after the match, we hear the music of Timeless Toni Storm as she comes out, makes her way onto the stage. And at this time, it is announced that Shida will be defending the AEW Women's Champion against Timeless Toni Storm at the Full Gear pay-per-view. Big fan of Hikaru Shida, but I could definitely see a title change at Full Gear taking place. Timeless Toni Storm becoming the new AEW Women's World Champion. She's pretty over right now, actually, with the crowd. And to be honest, I could see a new champion there. And MJF approached by Samoa Joe in the back. Joe offers to help him, but the one condition is he gets a rematch for the AEW World Championship. And time for the AEW Dynamite main event of the week. First is the AEW International Champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and making his Dynamite debut, I believe, New Japan Pro Wrestling star, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, taking on the Blackpool Combat Club team of American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and Claudio Castagnoli. Wow, great match here. I really enjoyed this match, especially one spot during the match where Kazuchika Okada goes for the usual Okada pose, and which is pretty much the same camera angle, zoom out, zoom in thing Orange Cassidy does with the pockets and the best friends. So Orange Cassidy gives the people what they want and hugs Kazuchika Okada, but that is interrupted by the BCC. And then eventually Orange Cassidy does hit a Superman punch to the face of Bryan Danielson. Orange punch, I should say, sorry. Then Okada hits a Rainmaker. And then Cassidy goes after Claudio, but Claudio reverses and hits hard with an uppercut. And Claudio pins Orange Cassidy for the win for the BCC. And then after the match, medics are checking on Bryan Danielson, the referees and the doctors. And best friends are out. Wheeler Yuta, Jon Moxley, the rest of the BCC. They're all out. Danielson still being checked on at the end of Dynamite as we go off the air. hopefully this is not too serious. I really don't think it is a work or anything. Really holding his face as he was being checked on. Like I said, hopefully this is not too serious of an injury to Bryan Danielson. And I just want to wish him the best. And that was tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite this week. I thought it was a very good episode once again. And I would like to know what you thought about tonight's Dynamite. Let me know in the comment section right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast app or website you listen to on. And that is about it for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Episode 525. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight to this recap of AEW Dynamite. And tomorrow, Thursday, hopefully we'll have a recap of Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor on Honor Club. Impact Wrestling on Access TV. All the fallout from last Saturday's pay-per-view Bound for Glory. And not only that, but the announcement that came out. The return of 2024 for Bound for Glory, TNA Wrestling coming back. Definitely be interesting. And I heard there was a really good match at the tapings. I don't know if it'll be airing yet. And as I always talk about here on the podcast, I do not read spoilers. It's not my thing. So I don't know what exactly this match is or when it will be airing exactly. But I did hear about one match that was supposed to be taking place at the tapings, and that was Will Ospreay versus the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. And, I said there was one that was really talked about a lot as being a 5-star match, and definitely wouldn't surprise me if it was that one right there. But that's all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the Thursday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. So, thanks again for tuning in tonight. And I will talk to everyone tomorrow morning. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.